Hey guys, Mrs. Vance here. We're gonna color today. So exciting. The first thing I am gonna do though is grab my Sharpie and we are going to trace the outline of our jar. We're not gonna trace our bugs. We're gonna keep those just in colored pencils, but we are gonna trace the outline of our jar. So when I'm doing this, notice that I'm like leaning really close. Whoops, sorry, I just bumped my camera. I'm gonna lean really close to my, there we go. We're all fixed. All right, to my jar. And just make sure that I'm tracing everything nice and precisely. So I'm going to trace the edges first, and then I am going to actually turn, I'm going to get my colored pencils out of the way for a second, turn my jar, because I find it easier for me to draw more up and down when I'm doing long lines like this. So I just was really careful to make sure that everything that needed to connect connected nice and smooth. When we use a Sharpie, we don't want to be sketchy. So we talk about we can be sketchy with a pencil because we can erase and redo. We definitely can't erase Sharpie. So we have to be a bit more cautious and careful as we go. But that doesn't mean we want to go super, super slow. Okay, so then we are going to go and we're going to go down the side of our jars next. So I'm going to flip it back to the correct way. And then I'm carefully tracing down the side of the jar. And then I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to go the other way. Again, I like to go straight up and down a lot more than left and right with my arm. And so now I'm going to connect the bottom like so. Okay? What I'm not going to do is I'm actually not going to trace this line in here for right now. We're going to leave it and we'll maybe come back to it later on. I think we're good the way it is. We might use colored pencils to help us shade that bottom edge of our jar. All right, so then we're going to grab our colored pencils. Mrs. Vance is using her colored pencils from college. That means they're really old. So that shows you that if you take care of your art supplies, you can have them for a really long time. So these are my Prismacolor colored pencils. You might have Crayola at home or Prang. The brand doesn't matter. Just make sure you have them readily available. And I made sure that all my colors were sharpened pretty well. I didn't sharpen all of them. There's a couple colors that I just don't think I'll probably use, so I didn't bother sharpening them at all. But I made sure my greens, my browns, my reds, my oranges, we're all ready to go to work on our project. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to color is my monarch butterfly. So I'm going to grab my oranges and my black, okay, and feel free to pull up a picture of your bug when you go to color it. If you're not quite sure what color it should be and you want to make it as realistic as possible, it's great just to, Google a quick image of your bug that you're coloring, and that way you have a good idea of what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my black colored pencil, and I know that my monarch has the black around the edges, and then it's got those orange stripes. So I'm going to kind of fill in around everything, and I'm pressing medium to hard. I want my color to be nice and vibrant. Sometimes when we color with colored pencils, it looks really see-through because we don't press very hard. I don't want you to press like super, super hard, so hard that you break your pencil, but there are going to be times where you need to go over something again, an overlap, or you just need to press a little bit harder to make that color a bit more vibrant. And it's definitely important to have that sharpened tip of your pencil so that you can get into the small, tiny details of your project. I'm going to go ahead and move myself up here so you can see a little better. All right, so again, I'm going to go around all these things. I am not going to have you watch me color my entire paper. That would be pretty boring. So I'm going to do parts of every bug so that you can get some ideas. So I am going to kind of outline the body, and I will come back to this part. Okay, so then I'm going to switch to my oranges, and I've got 2 different oranges. I want to show you a quick technique that you can learn how to do even in as young as 2nd grade. You could do this. So I am going to outline my shapes that are left with a little bit of orange. And you know what? I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. There we go. Okay, so I kind of outline with the darker color, and then I'm going to fill in and kind of overlap with the lighter color. Now it's going to be a little difficult to see, but that means I also did it right, because I want it to blend and be super smooth so that you can't even tell that there's 2 separate colors there, but that they look like some shading. So lighter on the inside color, and then I'm going back with the darker version of the color and just outlining. So I think you can see those 2 different colors. If I hold it up, it just gives it a little pop. You can tell how much nicer it actually looks than my black coloring right now, because it has 2 layers instead of 1. So again, I outlined with the darker color, filled in with the lighter color, and I pretty much overlap with the lighter color all the way around. Outline with the darker color, fill in with the lighter color, and then if I need to go back, I can, and clean up my edges with my darker color again. Okay, so I would kind of complete my monarch that way. I could, for the body, I'm going to grab my black colored pencil, but I also, and I'm going to kind of add some thickness with the black, but I'm going to do the same thing with my gray colored pencil. And I'm going to add some gray to the middle of my body here. And then I'm going to go back with the black, and I'm coloring lightly this time. I'm just trying to add a little bit of shading. So it's new for you guys, but that's okay. It's worth trying. So colored pencils are kind of fun like that, where you can overlap and layer and make it look like it's more 3-dimensional with some shading. All right, it's driving me nuts that I didn't finish this whole wing. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in. For these tiny little dots, I'm just going to make them the darkest orange. And then for my bigger sections, that's where I'm going to do the outlining. And then I'll fill in with that lighter color. Like so. There we go. Okay, so moving on to a different bug. I am going to slide over to, let's see, I'll do my spider. Is going to be a little tricky, and it's up to you if you want to make him brown or black. Since I just used black, I'm going to grab my dark brown and my lighter brown, and I'm going to play the same thing I did with my butterfly. So I'm going to outline everything, and when I outline, I press kind of hard so that's a nice rich color. When we think of spider, we typically think black, but actually a lot of spiders are brown. I would argue that most Illinois spiders are shades of brown. We get all sorts of spiders, and just a reminder, spiders are our friends. They eat mosquitoes, which we don't like. They eat lots of bugs that we don't like. All right, so I outlined, and I'm gonna kind of shade in with that lighter brown. And this allows me to still see the details in the legs of my spider. And I might do something with the body in a second. And my spider is going to color pretty quick because there were smaller pieces there. Where did I put my other brown? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to actually go around the belly of my spider 1 or 2 more times just to give it a little bit more shading. All right. So we've got our butterfly, we've got our spider. Let's talk about our caterpillar. So I'm going to do more of a monarch caterpillar. And I'm actually going to use my phone right now and I'm pull up a picture of that monarch caterpillar because it's got some pretty distinct striping. So monarch caterpillar. Perfect. All right, so now I have a picture. And it's got that, you know, black and white and yellow. Okay, that's what it is. So I know what colors I need to grab. So I need my black, I need a white, and I need my yellow. And I might even get like that chartreusey green color out. All right, so when I'm going to color my caterpillar, I'm gonna flip my paper. I'm gonna move my pencils out of the way a little bit. And we'll go ahead and zoom in again. All right, so looking at my phone that I've got, let's see, with the caterpillar, then I can kind of decide, okay, so he's kind of mostly yellow with a little bit of the striping of the black and the white. So I am going to actually put in my white stripes first, because if I don't, they won't show when I'm done. Because think about it, white is the lightest color. So if we color over it with yellow first, then we're not going to see it. All right, so then I'm going to put in my black stripes. And I'm tracing over my pencil basically for those. And my white was in between. All right, now I'm going in with my yellow. And I'm going to kind of fill in around those stripies there. So drawing these bugs is all about our attention to detail, looking at all those special teeny tiny parts and pieces. And it does look like he has some stripes on his head, so we'll add those in a second, but I'm going to fill in all our yellow here. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that chartreusey green color. I'm just going to kind of add it around our edges a little bit. And then we're going to put in our feet. I'm going to make those the green, but then I'm going to go back and we're going to add in a little bit more black striping around the head, because it looks like, if you look at the picture, the stripes go all the way down to his mouth. And there's our antennae, and there's actually antennae on the butt too, so I'm going to add those in. He's like a double-sided caterpillar if you think of it that way. And then we'll go ahead and add some detail in. And there, I think our caterpillar looks nice. All right, so we've got caterpillar, we've got Spidey, we've got butterfly. All right, so let's see. Let's do our grasshopper next, maybe. And so our grasshopper is multiple kinds of greens, most likely. Again, you can find a picture and you can look at that while you're coloring. I'm going to use kind of the method we were using earlier with the oranges. So I'm going to outline everything kind of with a thick outline of this kind of leafy green. And then we're going to go back and fill in with the lighter green. I'm going to make all of the skinny legs just a solid green. Okay. I need the black for his eyeballs, so I'm going to put that in. All right, so now I'm going to take that chartreusey green again, that limey green, and I'm going to fill in all those spots. And then I can go back and decide where do I want a little bit more darker value, a little bit more shading, and I'm going to put that in like the wing area, the body wing area. So it's a little darker here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and add his antennas, and I think he is good to go. We're going to zoom back out again. Whoop. All right, there's the color, looks a little better now. All right, so we're gonna keep on moving. I think we're about done with my demo. I think you guys understand the concept and can go ahead and get to work. So I'm gonna finish up by kind of doing my ladybug. And again, you know, when I think of ladybug, I think of red. However, if you've caught those ladybugs, we've had a lot of ladybugs in our house this past winter. They've actually got some orange in them. So I'm gonna overlay my red with some orange as I'm coloring. Add a little bit in here, and it's gonna blend and just add a little change of color as we go. I'm gonna be careful and go around my spots. But remember, we want solid, bright colors. So sometimes that means you gotta go over something twice. So if I hold this up, you can actually see I've colored 2 layers on this side and only 1 layer on this side, and that's why you can see through to the paper. So that's why I always, always, always recommend doing 2 layers. So overlapping your coloring with another color, or going back and just cleaning it up with the same color to make sure it's nice and bright and vibrant. Because if we push too hard while we're coloring, then we kind of end up with some issues, and sometimes we indent our paper too much. So we want to make sure that we are being nice and careful while we're coloring. There's our legs as we go. Okay, so then I would want to go back and add in my spots. And I am pressing pretty hard and overlapping 2-3 times with the black for the spots, so they look nice and rich and not see-through at all. All right, I'll go back and finish that head later. I want to get the last piece done. I want you to talk about the bottom of the jar again. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my gray. This is actually a silver, but it looks pretty gray when it goes on the paper. And I am just going to gently go over that with the gray, not with a Sharpie, but with the gray. So I'm tracing over the pencil. So it's there, it's standing out, but it doesn't take up that much space. And what you can do is you can take that silver or gray, and I'm just gonna lightly color this bottom edge. So really, really light. And this is optional, but I just added a little bit of shading to the bottom of our jar to show that it would be a little bit darker and that we would have a little bit of shadow at the bottom of our jar. Okay? If you need help with anything, make sure you reach out to me. But other than that, you are free to go work on that colored pencil coloring, and I can't wait to see how you add details and develop your whole projects. I know it's going to look amazing when it's done. I am going to do one of those pretty blue butterflies where it's blue here and then it goes to black. So I can't wait to show you my finished one, and I can't wait to see yours. Have a good day, guys.